Easy?
Dead. 0, 0, 0.
PP3V42?
0, 0, 0.
Hmm. All right, so today we're going to be working on a MacBook that has no trackpad connected. So it will work with the keyboard, but it won't work with the trackpad. And there's a couple of things that I have to mention about this when it comes to the A1502 Retina for the 2015 and 16 models, which is what we have here. Which is what we have here. Which is what we fucking piece of shit. What we have here. This is a 2015-16 Retina, and if we take a look at the schematic and the board view, you'll notice that there's something interesting about this model that's particularly unique to this model when it comes to the Pros. So, the keyboard signal, all of this stuff over here, WS keyboard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, the keyboard does not go directly to the board and then to the CPU anymore. The keyboard goes to this chip. This chip then communicates on this I2C line, Paul wins there, I'm going to say I2C, to the trackpad. And then the trackpad then talks to the CPU on another line here. So the way this works is the keyboard goes to the board. The board then sends the keyboard data to the trackpad, and then that keyboard data goes from the trackpad then back to the CPU. Because the board itself is too dumb to do that. It has to actually take a trip from the board to the trackpad, then back from the trackpad to the computer to get to the machine. So, why is that important? Well, great question. The reason that's important is because it helps us to narrow down whether our issue is with the... what was I saying? It helps us narrow down whether or not our issue is with the trackpad cable, or the board itself. So why is it that I think this is a board issue? The reason I think it's a board issue is because the keyboard itself is actually working when I try to type something. And the reason that's important is because if the keyboard was not working as well, this would be a trackpad cable issue. And trackpad cable issues are very common on this machine. This cable over here that you can buy on store.rossmangroup.com, don't delay, buy today, often goes bad on these machines for no good reason, even if you didn't drop it and even if you didn't get liquid on it. So I can demonstrate here by booting into a test operating system that the keyboard itself does work fine. So I'm going to turn this thing on and go from there. Let's just do a little bit of a demonstration. Turn on, you piece of shit. Boot, you piece of shit. Boot. Any comments on the new MacBook Pro throttling? Wow! Apple released a computer that throttles because it has insufficient cooling? No way! Paul, they released a computer that throttles.
You're kidding.
No fucking way.
No way.
Oh my God, call the press. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
Wow. Okay, yeah. I mean, come on, it's Apple. This is what they do all the time. They built their company doing that shit. So as you can see, the keys on the keyboard work when I type. So the communication is working, which means the trackpad is working to some extent, which means that the cable itself is likely not the issue here. And the cable is often the issue, which is why I bring this up. Because when the cable's the issue, you won't get any keys working at all. But when I try to move the trackpad here, you can see that there's no cursor on the screen. So let's take a look and see what it is that I should be looking for on this board. And this is going to be the trackpad connector right here, J4802. So it looks like what I need to have here is I need to have the 8.6 volts on my trackpad fuse, and let me just get my multimeter in the mode that I need it to be in so I can check that. And let's just turn on Paul Daniels' software so the multimeter will show up on the screen. Hopefully his software actually works right now. And it does. Beautiful. So we've got 13 volts there. We're doing good. Now we need to check for PP5V S4 trackpad F. And as you can see, that's on the other side of the board or over here. Now here's the problem with trying to measure that. It's over... It's over here. Over. So I got to take the board out in order to tell. Great. Boo. So let's get the board out of this computer. Once the board's out of the machine, I should be able to tell, be able to measure that and see if it works. The quicker I can fix all these boards, the quicker I can get my motorized bicycle. I can't wait to have a motorized bicycle. PP3V42 shorted to ground on that one?
PP plus 2 3 odd is only half a volt.
PP3V42 there or not there?
I don't have a keyboard.
Have you considered getting one of those mini keyboards? Or do you hate them?
I like this one. I would like a drawer or a shelf to put right here.
They make those keyboards that you can put on the bottom that pull out, but
Might work.
I used to have that on the IKEA desk. I forgot where I got rid of it.
No PP3
You know, Apple changed the PCI Express addresses of the GPU to break boot camp and force user with obsolete OS 10 to don't allow update to Windows 10 Linux and continue use the machine. You got to rephrase that sentence for me to know what that means. You know that Apple changed PCI Express address of GPU to broke boot camp and force user with obsolete OS 10 to don't allow to update. What? I want to understand what that means. Somebody help me. Okay, so we're going to look at the other side of the board. And this is a familiar board for those of you looking on. This is a yeah. Yeah, remember this? That looks like Paul S.'s application of that green thermal stuff, the green conformal coating. This looks like the way that Paul would apply it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Paul's application.
I did that? I can't tell.
You should, yeah, you could tell. Look. Does that look like something?
That I would not do that.
I poured it on the board. Paul said it wouldn't dry, but if you leave it in the nail salon UV thingy long enough, it does. So what we need to do is see if we are getting 5 volts on this MacBook on pin 25. That's going to be on the other side of the board, down here, on dun 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 dun. Point 0.1 volts on one side, 0.1 volts on the other. So 0.1 volts is no good. So now we got to trace this back and see where it's coming from. And PP5ES4 is going to come from this MOSFET on the side, U8060. All right, so let's take a look at U8060. U8060 all right, so this is going to take PP5ES5, and it's going to turn it on. This is going to turn on this chip, which is going to let PP5ES5 go through to PP5ES4. So I need to have voltage on pin 1 for input and voltage on pin 2 to turn it on. So let's see what I get on pin 1. So pin 1 on the MOSFET can be measured up here. Five volts, and pin 2, which would turn it on, can be measured down here. 3 volts. But output, which is going to be pins 3 and 5, the output of that circuit is 0 volts. So there's two possibilities here. Behind door number 1, there's a short circuit to ground, which I can check for right here. And what do you know? There is a short circuit to ground. Well, what's causing that short circuit to ground? Or which side is it on? 2.3 ohms. Interesting, interesting. So, how are we going to find where that short circuit to ground is? Well, let's see what goes to ground on that line. So we have PP5V S5 FET. It's going to be coming out on pin 5. That goes to oh, wrong place. There. What am I doing? There. Oh, back to U8060. So that's going to come out on pin 5 and go here. That goes here where there is a capacitor to ground, C4864. So that capacitor could be it. Or what else? That capacitor could be it under there. Or it could be something along the actual inside the board itself. So there's not a lot of choices here. Now, as you can see, what's interesting is that we have this little defect spot on the board right here. I'm not sure if this is really a defect. I'm just guessing because this part that's exposed a little up here, see that? You probably only see it if I zoom in more. Let me just get the multimeter off the screen to remove everything that's going to be distracting you from what I want to show you. You see that? It's like a little hole, but it's not a natural hole. Like these are the natural holes for things to be traveling from one side of the board to the other. But this here, it just looks like some broken-ass looking pothole. That's no good. And that's probably going to cause a breakdown in the system working. No good. So the only way we can really figure out what it is, and keep in mind, there's not a lot on this line, is by knocking the things off that go to ground. And the only things that go to ground on this line are this capacitor and this capacitor. So it's not like we have a lot that we can guess on. So I'm going to knock those two off, turn on my fume extractor before I do so, and see if we can make this board work again. I also actually poured some water on my desktop computer as I did that since I dropped my water bottle off the desk. And my... Whoop. Oh, so if the stream goes dead, that's because I water damaged my computer. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to remove these two capacitors. And if it's still messed up, that means that the short circuit is actually inside the board, at which point this will go to Paul. No, we'll destroy that short inside the board. Any PP3V42 on that?
Shorted.
Oh, on PP3V42 is?
Yep.
Oh, look under the little foam piece on the... Damn, you're good. You remembered that little troll, didn't you?
Yes.
The little foam troll. Yeah, and this fucked up thing is it won't show up in the thermal camera sometimes because it's being covered by the damn little piece of... Do you think it's the ISL or the SMC?
I hope it's the ISL. That would be really cool. We don't even have an SMC for this.
I think I used the last one recently. All right. Let's see if we still have a short circuit to ground. One pin on ground, other pin over here, and 2.1 ohms. Okay then. Seems like our short circuit is going to be inside the... Really? I mean, there's not a lot of places for that to be bad. Okay, let's see what side it's on. Let's see what side it's on. How about that? Let's at least try and narrow down where the short circuit is. So is the short circuit going to be... is it going to be on the this side or this side? I can't tell as long as this damn ferrite bead is on the board. So, can I mute for 30 seconds? Okay, one moment. Top secret data. You see, you really only get like 1 or 2 quick chances to find that short. Okay, so we're going to figure out what side this thing is on. Does it look good?
Huh?
Does it look good or bad?
Good. Well, no, bad. But I didn't know that was on PB342.
Well, it's going through an it's on the audio circuit, but it goes through an inductor from PB342 to the audio circuit. I think it's for the microphone or something. Okay, so let's see which side the short circuit is on. Are you on this side or on this side? Okay, so this is interesting. So these 2 things I knocked off, I actually didn't need to knock off because the things I knocked off were on this side. The short is on this side. So it's going to be something on here. So what are the things that go to ground? So the only other thing it could be is this stupid little MOSFET.
We don't actually have that computer. You picked it up.
What for?
No fix.
Oh. And Alex didn't leave a note?
Alex didn't. Why would he make a ticket if he picked it up already? He took it back like the second he...
Are you beating Alex right now?
I'm going to.
Go with Steve and beat the crap out of Alex. And take a weapon with you.
Where's the chain?
Actually, wait. Daniel, come back. Daniel, come back.
The humbler.
All right. Daniel?
Yes.
My grandpa made this for my dad, and my dad gave it to me. You're going to use this to make sure Alex learns his lesson, okay? This isn't good enough. This is pure titanium. This will break through all different types of stuff. This is what they make for the screws that go into people's shoulders to fix their rotator cuff. So I bestow upon you the stick. Now, Alex didn't put a label on the machine. How much time did you spend looking for this machine?
Like 45 minutes.
45 minutes? All right. Make sure he learns his lesson. Go. You and Steve. Steve, hold him down. All right. Anyway, so back to where we were. So this over here, the only thing that could be on that line now is the MOSFET. That's the last thing left. So it's got to be that. So we're going to take this and we're going to remove it. And I think that's going to be it. Because if we look over here, you'll see that the only other thing on that line that goes to, actually, no, it could be this capacitor. Crap. Yeah, it could be C4803. So let's see what C4803 looks like. Damn it. I got excited too soon. All right. C4803. Wait, no, I removed that. Yeah, I removed this and I removed this. And that capacitor is on the... Okay. I removed this thing on PP5ES4 trackpad. I removed this thing on here. Okay, so the only thing left that it can be, the only thing left that goes to ground is U8060. Someone says this is how Amazon's warehouse's HR department works. Yeah. Jeff Bezos didn't make $100 billion by being a nice guy. Poor Alex. Do you hear any screaming yet?
I don't hear any screaming.
I don't hear any screaming. Daniel! Oh. I should hear screaming.
There should be screaming.
There should be lots of screaming.
Not screaming.
Oh, this is still a customer. Okay. So wait until all the customers are gone, and then just, you know what. Okay.
Meetings will continue until quality improves.
Do you think that's a little harsh, or do you think that's just right?
Sounds just right to me.
Do you ever talk to Hi from chat, Paul?
Yeah.
I offered him a job, and he didn't take it.
What? Why not?
He probably has some executive job that pays way better than what I get paid. But
He must be on Wall Street or something.
okay, now the short circuit is gone. So since the short circuit is gone, I'm going to put the MOSFET back, I'm going to put these two caps back, and I'm going to put the inductor back in place, and we should have a working trackpad. I can't understand how anybody that watches these videos would decline a job opportunity or a job offer. Like, why wouldn't you want to work here?
Why would you not want to be the next one to beat me with a stick?
Why would you not want to be the next person that comes to work here? I don't understand. It's like we post all these videos and we show how great the morale is and the company culture, and
There's a 1 beer minimum for lunch.
yeah. I don't understand what would have discouraged him. Okay, let's get a donor board that has all my little pieces on it. I'm glad they stopped using that glass kind of MOSFET for this, because that thing is so easy to crack and break taking it off. Damn, customer is still there. Can't punish Alex yet. Customer must leave so the beatings can commence.
I smile every time I see that board.
Is that the one that the kid came into Drenel from Manitoba?
The guy there's just a fan that was waiting out front in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was chatting, saying, like, I'm right outside, and I thought, nah, the fuck you are. And then I looked, and I see that there's some Canadian staring at me. I remember asking chat if I should let him in, and they all said yes.
I said no.
Except for Paul Daniels. He was
Ticket closed, 2 hours wasted total.
discipline.
No, customer's still here.
Oh, customer's still here. Can you take him into the basement for the discipline? Tell him what you're gonna do. You're gonna tell him that we need to carry up one of the biggest ultrasonic cleaners, and it's a little too light. It's a little too heavy to do it by yourself. When you get him down there, you smack him in the back of the head, and then you lock the basement shut. And then you say, "Did you learn your lesson?" And he has to write you a text. with a full essay on how he knows what he did was wrong and assuring you that it will not happen again.
Yeah, but it's gonna happen again. That's the bad part. Why are we not enforcing push-ups? If I messed up like this, I'd be fired. That's all I know. Push-ups for fuck-ups. No, watch TV. I like that one better. Watch TV and then change the channel and then watch TV. I like that one so much better. Because it sounds so harmless. Instead of watch TV until I'm tired. Yeah.
Ew, what is this gooey shit? I'll come off in the cleaner. All right. Now it's time to see if there's a trackpad here. Mm-hmm. MacBook. It's burning.
That's the same thing I pulled on you.
I wonder what is causing Lewis to lash out lately. The idiocy. It's the idiocy.
It's the sheer lack of brain cells.
It's the lack of thinking. This is one of those boards that I really don't feel like putting through the ultrasonic cleaner again for obvious reasons. So,
This is one of those things I really think you should give to Alex. Assuming he doesn't mess it up again.
domo arigato, Mr. Roboto, domo. Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto, for doing all the jobs that nobody wants to. Thank you very much, Mr. Roboto. Da 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 da. Thank you. I wanna thank you. Thank you. I wanna thank you. This is like being a dentist. Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto, for doing all the jobs, the PMIC balls that nobody wants to. Does it turn on now?
It turns on now.
Oh, beautiful. Did you find any board that actually has that capacitor still on it, or?
Yes, I did. The capacitor and the cracked audio IC next to it.
There was a cracked audio IC? Did you reball it?
No.
Did you flick it off the board?
No. Well, yes. I replaced it.
Oh. Did you have to put balls on it, or was it just like you put solder on the board and you're good? Then you smash it down?
I just smashed it down.
Oh.
It looks good.
I think that's for the microphone anyway. Who wants a microphone anyway?
Yeah, no one. This is NSA resistant now.
NSA resistant, exactly.
Just like when the webcam's corroded.
Thank you very much, Mr. Robot,
Oh,
for doing all the jobs nobody wants to.
I'm updating. I don't care.
Oh god, your Windows is not going to work anymore.
You know, my Windows has been.
Yeah, I can attach the Wi-Fi later.
My Windows has been annoying me for like 2 weeks about this stupid update. They keep saying no because it's so boring, and now it's saying you have to update.
So essentially, if something bitches at you enough, you'll do something that you didn't want to do previously.
But it's like forcing me to.
Don't get married. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, on my computer at home, I'd update Windows in a second. It's like, I don't really mind doing that. But here, it's like.
Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto, on all jobs that nobody wants to. Thank you very much, oh Mr. Roboto.
There's a noise on your mic.
Why do you got to do that right as I'm doing the outro? Because I have to record this. Yeah, turn that off for a second. Because this is... All right, so let's see if the trackpad moves, and it moves. It moves around the screen, which means that we're done. So it looks like we had a short to ground on the 5-volt line required for the trackpad to work. And after we remove the MOSFET, that was the offender, it works again, and we have a trackpad, and it's beautiful. So that's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. Okay, can we punish him now? We got to do it now. Here. I got some tape to go around it. I got some.